Yeah, buddy.
Andy's back. There we go.
This is going to be ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. John's going to jail.
Oh man, what is up? This thing is finally done. Well, done. You know, these projects are never done. There's always finishing touches, which I do need to do on this, but I wanted to give you guys a quick little runabout, build breakdown, whatever on this thing. So it's a 29 Model A. It's all steel body. And the way this thing came about was I had the 29 Model A, and I'll give you a picture of that here. Okay, yeah, you got it. And was kind of wondering what to do. I had the full chassis, I had another frame. I started accumulating parts to build the suspension, the chassis, all of that. Then an opportunity arose. Had a friend of a friend that wrecked his Polaris 2016, I believe it was, RZR XP Turbo. And the wheels started turning, and I thought, hey, maybe I can make something out of this. I can use the suspension. It'd be really cool to have something long travel. And so the idea was born. Kind of wacky idea, I know, not everybody likes it, but in the idea of hot rodding, I took one thing I had, and another idea that I didn't have, but I later on purchased, and decided to put them together and make what I would call a hot rod. Taking parts that you have, things that you have, and making something that you enjoy. Yeah, it doesn't make everybody happy, but it doesn't need to. What it needs to do is make me happy, make those around me, friends, family, everybody else happy, and that's what hot rodding is. So I think that's what we accomplished. Let's do a little talk about what's in this thing. I don't really know where to start, but let's just start right up here. For this look, for the off-road, sand, dirt, you know, jumping, whatever, well, I'll probably use paddles in the back in the sand, but I may use these 32-inch Coyotes in the sand for the first time out, just see how they do, which they should do good. They do good on like a RZR or whatever else. Got the 15-inch Vision wheels here, and I kind of like the look. They look vintage, so we'll roll with them. Up front, we have the Fox internal bypass shocks. That gives 16 inches of travel in the front. We've got the Fox bypass shocks in the rear. Rear has 18 inches of travel. Also on the front, we have the L&W standard width suspension. Great company, their parts are really impressive. They do good work, good welds, they're beefy. We have the L&W tie rods. And to get the look on a Model A, really your front tires need to be out in front of the grill. So what I did was I got the most forward offset front A-arms that I could get, which are, I believe the L&Ws are 1.75 inch. And that that kind of helps with the overall look. If you get the tires too far back on a Model A, it just looks ridiculous. I think we pulled it off as good as we could. Moving on to the back, we have the L&W trailing arms, radius rods, and all of that for the rear. Again, really nice work. I like the billet aluminum. They do super good with that. The trailing arms are real beefy, and I think it's going to be a great setup. I think it'll take some abuse off-road. It handles pretty good. Got my grill surround. So this hood emblem would have been for the original radiator from inside the car. Let's get around to see that. From inside the car on a Model A, you would have been able to see that. It's hard to see here, but there's numbers in there. You can see your coolant temperature. I don't have a radiator right there. I'll show you where that's at now. It's a little bit behind. Anyway, but I thought the emblem was cool. The little wing emblem looks pretty sweet. Sorry, this thing's dirty. We've had it out, running it around. Not real dirty, but she's a little dusty. And then you may wonder what that is. That right there that would have been the factory fuel tank. And now it's got a fuel cell under there. And I need it because the fuel cell is so close under the cowling here. I needed to vent the tank. And in order to get the vent high enough, well, we did that little fella right there. And so I took and drilled it out so the vent goes clear up into the top of his head and out the back. Hopefully that's not going to spill any fuel. And then I have my quick little, you can see them there, the release pins for the hood. Got one more there, one more there. Okay, I'll see if I can lift this thing up one-handed here. So there we are. We got the fuel cell. We have the radiator up front, all custom tubing. We stretched the chassis about 6 inches, and which would be 6 inches longer than a razor. We did the fabrication of all the bars around here. Basically rebuilt the whole chassis on this thing. So we have the heat exchanger tucked in there. And then that goes to the back, to the intercooler that's in the intake. Got the coolant reservoir tucked in there. Local steel shop, BBC Steel. They make some cool little gussets and stuff. And they happen to have that Ford one. So I figured I needed to incorporate that into the old Model A. Okay, so you've seen it with the top off. And the roll bar, you're probably wondering why we had the bends in the roll bar the way we did. And that was basically to fit the lines of the top, because I do want to run the top on it some of the time, especially if it's hot out, just keep the sun from beating down. Open the door here. We got our door panels and flooring. And then if you could see back there, the rear firewall is all in this boat decking or whatever you want to call it. So we've got our old looking wood steering wheel here. I did flip it to give the driver a little bit more room. I think it looks kind of cool flipped like that. It looks old school because a lot of the old stuff had steering wheels that had a reverse dish on them. I do need to drill the rivets out, put the finger part of the steering wheel on the back side. We got our Hess 2-to-1 steering adapter. That way it only takes about a half a turn each way to get to full lock, which is awesome. We've got the factory gauge bezel there, the fuel level. Eventually, when money permits, I'd like to reuse that factory speedometer. In order to do that, I need to there's a GPS adapter to speedometer cable, and then I can have that working, which would be super cool. You can see there, still got to mount some switches and stuff, but we're getting there. For the rat rod theme, I was trying to figure out what to use for a shifter lever. I had this old kind of brass knuckle handled dagger knife thing. And I thought, what better to use for that? So that's how we shift it right there. Not sharp anymore, not bleeding. So there's park, up is drive. So since I'm paralyzed, I had to do this unique brake and hand control setup. What I ended up doing was making this lever where you push it forward, and that gives you front and rear brakes, and then you pull it back, and that gives you drift brake. And then we got thumb throttle right there. It's the spaghetti line brake system. Took a lot of plumbing. I don't know if you could see back there, but it took a lot of plumbing to get 2, 3, and 4 under the front side of the hood. 4 master cylinders. It was quite the work. Willwood told me, yeah, ain't gonna work like that. I explained how I wanted the mechanism to work, and I wanted the foot pedals to work. I wanted to be able to push forward for front and rear brakes and pull back for drift brake. And they said, no way, kid, that ain't gonna work. But it works. It's all bled out. I think we need to bleed the foot brake just a little bit more, but it's working good now. The hand brake, both front and rear, works super good. So I'm excited that that worked, especially after being told no. And I know part of it's liability, but we made it work, even though they said we couldn't. Got the little wheel in there that pushes on this lever here to push the dual masters for front and rear bias adjustable brakes. And then we got the drift brake in the back. So when you pull it back, the wheel rolls down this lever right there. Of course, I couldn't have the RZR seats in here with the RZR emblem on them because that just looked really dumb. So I got the covers in camo seat covers. I needed brown and black to go with the theme. So they had this pattern available, and it actually matches really well with the rest of the brown and the patina on the outside. The seats we dropped as much as possible so that you'd still have tons of clearance for your head and helmet, leaving enough room to where we can keep an extra belt and our license, registration, insurance, a couple of tools in a little case down there. Got my phone mount up there so I can have GPS speedometer for now. Temporary rear view mirror. That's gonna go away, but I need to find something else that's gonna work. At least that'll get me going for now. So the front has been chopped, just a touch over 5 inches. We started thinking we might want 2 inches. 2 inches became 3, which became 4, and Mark and Ryan and I finally settled on 5 inches, or just a little bit more. I think it's closer to 5 1/4. The viewing, when you're sitting from the driver's seat, you can still see out easily. It doesn't look like you'd have much viewing angle, but really your head's gonna be right about here. You could see, you may have to duck just a little bit to see a stoplight if you're the first one in line, but overall I think it's the perfect amount of chop. Moving on to the back, same thing, 32-inch Coyote tires. Got the same 15-inch vintage mag looking wheels there. And to make the Model A street legal, we had to have taillights, blinkers, license plate light, and all that. So we got all that. That's fully functional. And moving on into the trunk or hood, whatever you want to call it, we have 925cc RZR engine, turboed. Sorry about the white springs. We're kind of in the middle of testing spring rates and different spring combinations to give us the height for on-road with the red wheels and white walls to keep it in that lowered stance. And then also in the lifted stance for off-road. So we'll be kind of tinkering with different springs and rates and all that stuff. You can see back here is custom fabricated tubing, body mounts, all of that stuff. A lot of bending, a lot of fabrication went into this. I went into it thinking Oh, not a big deal. We're just gonna slap that Model A on. Well, nope, that wasn't the case. It was full chassis fabrication and everything else. Got a hitch receiver right there because I want to be able to haul the wheelchair on the back when I take the kids out or anybody else that's gonna be in the passenger seat. I need a place to put the chair, so I think it's gonna go there. We'll either put like some sort of a little cargo rack on the back, or maybe we'll make a little mechanism that you put the chair on and then it like flips up and pins or something. Something easy, but that's gonna come down the road. Had a buddy Adam who does paint work and stuff, and he was gonna paint it. Now, originally I went with the red wheels and the white walls, and I kind of thought, okay, with that, I would like to do like a hot rod black theme. I've always really loved old hot rods that are kind of like a matte black with the red wheels and white walls. I'm a plain is the name of the game type of guy. You know, obviously black shoes, black pants, black shirt. Today, knew I was gonna be making a video, so I threw on some color, throwing a little bit of gray there. Anyway, Adam took the car, just the body. We were still working on the chassis and stuff. He took the body and brought it up to his work, sent me a message, called me, something like that. He's like, hey, what kind of freedom do I have with this thing? I said, you know what, Adam? You're doing the work. You're donating your labor and time and all of that, being a good friend. You do whatever you want. The two things I requested, maybe it was more than two. One thing, I didn't want body work. You know, if I go off on the trails or at the dunes and stuff and panels are rattling around, I don't want body filler cracking and doing all that type of stuff. And the other thing I told him was, if you can do something that hides, you know, like the imperfections in the body, it's nearly 100-year-old car. You have to think about that for a minute. So it's been, you know, through the paces over the years. The guy that I got it from drove it a lot still. So it's seen some abuse. We had to do on the back quarters, the bottom 6 inches or 6 or 7 inches. Those are patch panels. That paint, you don't even notice it. So those are welded on, and my brother Mark did those, and they turned out really good. But if you look up close, you'll see the little bit of weld marks in there, but it's all hidden, and that was the goal. And I think Adam, he killed it. He did a good job making it to where you don't even notice that the actual sheet metal is, in some areas it's kind of ripply and it's kind of hammered. He called me up after I told him he could do whatever he want, and he's like, I'm a little worried about telling you what I did. He's like, I hope you don't mind the color. And he showed me the color, and I was like, Adam, like my favorite color ever for like an old patina type of rig is teal and brown. It's one of the reasons why I ended up with that truck. You know, I had built another F100, and that one's actually legit real patina, but it's my favorite. I've always loved that look. Every single screenshot that I take of old hot rods or trucks, cars, whatever, that I really, really like, it's teal and brown, kind of that rusty patina. I just wanted this thing to be universal. Here's the red wheels with white walls. They are 7.5 by 16 for the rear. These are 35 Oldsmobile wheels that we had, again with the theme of trying to do some sort of a budget build. They're 6 by 16s on the front, so we got the big, littles. Throw on the red wheels and white walls, drop it low, cruise into a cruise in, you know, the very next day, same day, whatever, put these suckers back on, run my little adjustment rings down, crank some pressure into the springs, and then we go off-roading or we go to the dunes or whatever. So it's super universal. It came out so awesome. I'm super thankful to everybody that's helped on this thing. It has been a lot of work. It's 100 times more work than what I thought it was going to be setting out to do this. Taking a couple of measurements, and it was like, oh yeah, that body is just going to work like a champ. No, we had to do a lot, so much I can't even begin to start telling you. But huge thanks to my brother Mark. This is his shop. He is the mastermind with the mathematical stuff and the finesse for bending all this crazy tubing. And then buddy Ryan, he's big hot rodder, and his fab work is absolutely incredible. Body working, he taught Mark quite a bit. I'm unteachable with body work. We did do some of it when we ground the panels down to steel and knocked out a bunch of the dents with help from some YouTube videos and help from Ryan showing us how to, bang dents out and make the sheet metal flat again. Big thanks to everybody else that's helped on this: Vince, Kevin, Corey, Mike. Hard to think of everybody that's had a hand in it, but yeah, huge thanks. You guys know who you are. I appreciate all the help, the inspiration, help from bystanders like family. My son Karsten's been down here helping a decent little bit. He's helped with some of the interior and whatnot. He's only 10, so he doesn't know how to do a lot of it, but he's learning and he's enjoying the process of it. So huge shout out to everybody that's had a hand in helping on this, welding, painting, fabricating, all that. You guys are awesome. This project is awesome. It has completely blown us away how fun it is. I mean, I've had razors. I have my 4-seater turbo razor still. But this thing, there's just something about it. It is fun. It will put a smile on your face. If you don't like it, come get a ride. I promise you, I will change your mind. Thanks everybody for watching. Stay tuned. We have a ton of ideas for videos. We will get this out. We will thrash on it. Not a garage queen, not a show queen. This thing's meant to be beaten on and abused. You're gonna wanna stick around. Later, everybody, thank you so much. Like and subscribe, follow along, means a lot. Give me comments, negative, positive, whatever. This skin is thick, I can take it. So hate on it, love on it, do all the things. Later, everybody, thank you so much.